Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Infinite Series Captain America the Winter Soldier. We're having a look today at the completed Build-A-Figure of Mandroid. Now, it actually took a bit of a break to get the figure completely assembled. Unlike the Ultimate Green Goblin, where you could really actually build the entire figure from all the figures that were in the first wave of that line, Captain America Winter Soldier was a little bit different. You only got the arms and the head from the first wave of figures, which were really more the comic-inspired versions of the characters. And then the revision wave, consisting of Black Widow, Winter Soldier, and Movie Cap, had the torso and legs to finish Mandroid. A smarter route to go versus having doubles of Green Goblin pieces. The only downside, though, certain figures like Black Widow were extremely hard to find. And Black Widow, being the torso piece, made it next to impossible to build a Mandroid unless you got the parts on eBay or somebody, you just bought the entire Mandroid in one go. Is he impressive as a figure? He's big. In fact, let's move him to the side. Let's take one of the figures we've already had a look at. There's Winter Soldier. He's a lot bigger than Winter Soldier, but he's not as big as I had hoped he would have been. The culprit really for me is the legs. He's still bulky and he's still got a good mass to him, but I feel like his legs could have been just a little bit longer, maybe just about that much longer. I kind of feel like he's under proportioned. His torso is good. His arms are a good proportion to his torso, but I feel like his legs are just a little too short for my liking. Also, they're a little loose, especially like in the foot area here. The ankles, at least on this Mandroid, are a little bit loose. I still can look at this, though, and it makes me think right away of a Horde Doombot, or a Horde Bot from He-Man. I'm sure somebody, especially with that head, that's definitely a Horde Bot. I'm sure somebody will put together and do a custom version of that figure. I'm sure even if you Google it on eBay, you probably will find a whole bunch of Horde Bots. I think Spot actually called them Doombots during one of the reviews. But one of the Horde Bots I'm sure you'll see on eBay. Just this, and then painted differently. His articulation, now he has a lot of articulation, but it's hindered slightly, especially when it comes to his arms. You can move the arms, and you can swivel them, but because he's got these hoses, and because this gap between the bicep, robo bicep, and the gauntlet area here, there's only a very small area where you can actually move that arm. Again, you can rotate it too, but really not a lot. His hand also rotates, but again, hindered by all the extra stuff that he has on his gauntlet. Speaking of stuff, on one side he's got these two Gatling miniguns, and on the other side of his hand he's got this really long bladed weapon. I thought initially that you could probably unpeg these, but they do look like they're molded into the forearm area of the robot. Of course, also with Black Widow, he came with a cannon, a little shoulder cannon, although very hollow on the underside, and still warped too when I got him out of package. But he also comes with a swivel in the this little side cannon. As for the rest of articulation, well, his head does rotate, but good luck really even being able to do much with it. You can move it up, you can move it down, move it right and left, but extremely, extremely stiff. The arms are on hinge sockets, little pin ball joints, so they hinge out forward, back. As we've already discussed, the swivel and bend in the arm, again, not really too much. He has the upper torso ball joint, which moves quite a bit. I mean, you can really arch that back, the upper torso area back, and then just kind of have the cannon arm raised up like he's going to fire away at Captain America. He has no swivel in the waist. Really, the majority of his articulation is perfectly fine being in the upper torso rather than in the waist area there. And as for the legs, they go forward, back, out, swivel at the thigh, double bend at the knee, and swivel and hinge in the foot. The biggest culprit for me, though, as gorgeous of a piece as this might be, is that the legs extremely loose, especially right here. Because he is so top heavy, I don't know how long before, if I'm putting this on a shelf, it's just going to want to topple over because of these ankles being so loose. I suppose you could kind of just have him supported against something so he's not going to fall. But I mean, he's a neat looking piece. If you're not looking at it as a collector and you're looking at something as from a kid's eyes, this would be a fun piece to play with. Especially if you have Captain America, you could have the, you know, the Doombot, or in this case, you know, you could have it attacking Captain America. The thing, though, that bothers me, though, is that his legs are so short. That really could be, like, the one thing that's killing it for me. It's such an impressive looking piece, but I wish its legs were longer. I also wish that, again, if I was looking at this from a kid's perspective, I probably would want to pick up more of these. The downside, though, is especially getting the key pieces, I have to look for more Black Widows, or I find Mandroid here on eBay, and I pick them up that way. Is he a cool looking figure? Yes. Is he perfect? His legs are a little iffy, and the legs, again, could be a little longer. But he's a really nice, detailed robot. And we don't really have enough robots in Build-A-Figure figures. They're always, you know, well, I mean, we had the Sentinel, but really, aside from the Sentinel, there hasn't been a lot of robots. And Mandroid, I think, is a good size. They didn't cheap out either. They didn't give us like a really small, regular 6-inch figure, or smaller, something that could have easily been packed with something or on its own. Mandroid is worth, you know, finding the pieces, putting them together, because at the end of the day, you feel like you've accomplished something. And again, he is a perfect candidate for a Horde bot. Mandroid, I'm going to give him a 7.5. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Infinite series, the Captain America Winter Soldier, Mandroid. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more Toy Spots heading your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.